Let's do a Swoppet update. Swoppet plug head style Spacemen. I believe the form originated in the early 60s with this type over here by Cherilea toys. Offshoot of Britain's and a base on them. Marx toys and did their own version in Hong Kong mid-1960s. And they're distinguishable by how they have painted details to their forms. Here's another batch of Marx over here. And then, of course, the Hong Kong companies latched onto them and made a myriad of copies, many of which got packaged up for cake decorations. Confused by these three here in the middle because they have the usual Marx Toys single indentation, as do the ones in the Betta Cake Decor set, Space Station set, sorry. Here's an example of each variant. Well, I guess what I think is each. The more I look at them, the more different all these things look. Left to right, we've got Cherilea, an unknown copy, and then a Marx on the right. These two just raised an eyebrow with me, in that they're somewhat different than these over here. I thought they were all the same. Both of those have little patternings to their helmets. These do not. The blue one sort of does, and indeed the difference in helmets is fascinating to me right now. This guy here has an antenna. This one has an antenna as well. The others don't have antennas. And I've been debating whether to open this for a few weeks, and I just realized that there are three helmets, and I think the one behind that is the same as those two, are different than anything else that's here. And my presumption at first was that these were related to these here because they've got this the Marx indentation on the floor. Even the guy who's kneeling has the two circle indentations as to all the others with the painted details. These do not, and of course the Chereleas are on their bases. So I'm not sure if those are related anymore. I don't know, and they're a mystery. I never had any of these as a kid. I saw them once or twice. A friend had some, and they were profoundly disturbing for me to see. I was used to the static astronaut forms. Here's a 54 millimeter Marx Apollo guy from he's in yellow. He's from later in the 70s, but this form first originated in this size in 1972. The Apollo astronaut in the pressurized EVA suit in 1970 in a 6-inch form, and before that, of course, there was the MPC guys. I date these to about 1963 with the Fireball XL5 sets, and indeed the Chereleas also have the rope coil thing and the tool in the other hand, and one good idea follows another. So the different companies appropriated the different forms from each other and continued to perpetuate them, apparently in Hong Kong, in the form of these cake decoration sets. I'm not sure if anyone's still making them, but there's plenty to go around if you're patient and persistent enough with your looking. What else to say quickly? I guess the easiest way to tell them apart, again, is that the Chereleas are going to have a base. The Marx won't. The Marx will have pod feet, and they'll have painted details. And the copies will not have painted details. They may or may not have pod feet. These were adapted so that they can sort of stand without it. But if they're a cake decoration, they're stuck into the frosting, right? I have no idea what contraptions they're supposed to be holding. I read those as cameras, those as sort of flash bulbs, but they're probably not. They're probably meant to be some other thing. Oh yeah, and this guy here, this is an amalgam of broken pieces from the Cherilea figures in a random Marx had. I want to make him into a god of war statue or something like that. And indeed, all of my Cherilea pieces, except these two here and the guy who's kneeling out here, all of them are broken or fractured in some way. That plastic has gone atrociously brittle with time and needs to be looked over. The Marx pieces are cast in more of a vinyl, flexible. Some of them are kind of rubbery almost. Others are more this one here has sort of a translucent quality. This guy here also has sort of a translucent quality, as does that one who's kneeling. The copies are all in what I would call softer army man plastic, and the faces on these here, these copies, some of them are almost smooth. That was another thing that stood out about these two, and the Betta Cake copies, I guess those will have faces. So I'm thinking that maybe these actually are Marx in a lower cost format that they churned out towards the end of production. I know that these pieces here are at least pictured on the box of the lunar hill climbing battery operated train set from I think 1968. Although just when they originated, I have no idea. There's very little intel on these out there, and I'm always looking to learn more. And a whole line of Swoppets receding off into the infinity.